Welcome to Evidence Strong News. My name is Alex, and I will tell you about the newest and best research in weightlifting. Let's start. We have 3 studies today. The first one is titled Skin Application of Menthol Enhances Maximal Isometric Lifting Performance. This study comes from UK and had 9 resistant trained males as participants. They were on average 24 years old. They weighed 76 kilos. They were 174 centimeters tall, and their 5 repetition maximum deadlift was around 132 kilograms. So this study is embargoed, and its full text will be available in April next year, so April 2023. But I dig out an abstract and we will look into it. So what the authors did in this study was they asked participants to perform deadlift and isometric pull on 2 occasions. In one, they sprayed the legs of the athletes with menthol spray, and in the other condition, they sprayed with a controlled spray which did not have menthol in it. Then they tested whether the deadlift performance changed. They measured electromyography of thigh muscles. They also measured perceptions of comfort and thermal sensation, so how cool or how warm the athletes felt. They also measured RPE, so perceived exertion rate, and readiness to train, perception of skin temperature, and heart rate. Although the deadlift performance did not change depending on the condition, what they found, however, was that isometric mid-thigh pull force production was higher in menthol spray and the EMJ, so muscle activation was also higher in some thigh muscles. Also, athletes felt slightly cooler with menthol spray. So the take-home message is spraying legs of the athlete with menthol may enhance isometric weightlifting performance and may make athletes feel cooler. Okay, so the second study for today, perception of velocity during free weight exercises, difference between back squat and bench press. It's a study from Italy. I have a full text of it and I will get to a proper summary of it, but it's a good study, so I want you to know early about it. This is a study from Italy. This study tested 21 males and 9 females, on average 26 years of age, 75 kilos body weight, and 177 centimeters height. So they had 30 participants. They divided them into 2 groups. Both groups were training for 5 weeks, and one of the groups received training on perception of speed. So the aim of the study was to check whether weightlifters were able to improve their perception of speed, so how quickly the bar is moving. The researchers recruited 30 participants, 21 males, 9 females. Then they randomly divided them into 2 groups. Randomly means they didn't influence who goes to which group. And one group received a training in speed perception and the other did not. So after 5 weeks, they tested how good the athletes become in assessing the bar velocity. They used 2 exercises, squat and bench press, and they measured delta score, which was the difference between how the athlete perceived the velocity and what the velocity actually was objectively measured. So here are the delta scores of all the athletes. The upper 2 figures are from experimental group, so the one which received the velocity training, and the lower 2 are for the control group. Black bars show the delta scores before the training and gray ones after the 5 weeks of training. So after 5 weeks of training, athletes were tested with 5 randomly chosen loads into exercises, back squat and bench press. If we look only at the black bars, which are the bars pre-training, we can see that they are pretty similar between experimental group and control group. I would even say that delta bench press scores for the treatment group were slightly higher. Now, when we look at the gray bars, we can clearly see that they are smaller in the experimental group than in the control group, which means that experimental group, so the group that received the training, improved their perception of bar velocity. So it is possible to train the athletes to be pretty accurate with perceiving the velocity. Before we go to the third study for today, I wanted to let you know another exciting news. The Evidence Strong has launched Patreon community, where all the content is available early. We have extended interviews with the researchers and a masterclass once a month on the topic you guys choose. The community is running for a few months now, and we have at least 100 pieces of content for you to learn from. All easy and fun to digest. So if you are serious about upskilling in the newest research, specifically in Olympic weightlifting, that's the place to be. All right, let's go to the third study for today. Muscle snatch as an indicator of readiness in weightlifters. That study is a gem I dig out for you from the deepest parts of the internet. You will not find this study on PubMed, and it would probably escape your attention. So let's jump into it. So this is a US study. It was a poster presented at a conference, and the study itself had 4 participants, 3 females and 1 male, Olympic weightlifters. They were on average 32 years old, 172 centimeters meters and 88 kilograms of body mass, and they had around 9 years of training experience. They were all well trained and actively competing at the time of the study. So the athletes were tested over 7 weeks in 28 individual sessions. Every session would start with a warm-up that the athletes would do vertical jumps at 50 and 75% of their perceived maximal effort. And then they did 2 maximal jumps from the static start, counter movement jump, and from drop jump. And all the jumps were performed on the force plate. After that, they would do muscle snatch testing. So the researchers measured vertical jump height, peak power, and reactive strength from the force plates, and peak velocity and peak power from the transducer. So the study found that peak velocity and peak power in muscle snatch were correlated with static counter movement and depth jump performance. This means that muscle snatch, peak velocity, and peak power can be used to measure current status of trained weightlifters before the training session. Although the study was done only on 4 athletes, I think it's worth trying if you're looking for a low fatigue, high skill testing technique. That's all for today. The details of all the studies are linked in the description. If you want to learn more about weightlifting research, go to evidencestrong.com. See you next time.